Cape York and the Old Telegraph Track. It's one of the most iconic four-wheel drive destinations in Australia. I don't think there's a single four-wheel driver who hasn't at least fantasised about doing it. It's tough, it's remote, it's claimed many a vehicle. It's been on my bucket list ever since I got my first four-wheel drive. So join me as I drive to the most northern point of the Australian continent.
So back on my own now, just off to do the northern section of the Old Telegraph Track now. So just camped at Elliott Falls. It's a really nice campground, beautiful swimming hole, numbered campsites. Make sure you book in advance because they do fill up, but it was pretty quiet there at the moment anyway. So yeah, on to the northern section. That includes Nolans and Logans Crossings, which I'm a little bit nervous about, but nothing ventured, nothing gained, right?
After Elliott Falls, the first crossing you're going to come to is Canal Creek. Now there's plenty of options to get across and none of them are really all that extreme.
Coming up to Sam Creek now. Got a little bit further to go, not too much, but that'll be the next one, Sam Creek. I think there's a good swimming hole in Sam Creek.
The Sam Creek's a relatively easy crossing, but if you've got the factory alloy side steps, you can probably kiss them goodbye. It's a really popular spot for camping too. There's a really nice swimming hole not far from the crossing.
And Mistake Creek. It's a bit of a steep, windy track down into the creek, but the crossing itself looks pretty easy. So Mistake Creek's done. We just met up with a few blokes who've done this track yesterday on motorbikes, and they're going through and with the car towing their motorbikes today with the trailer. So I'm following them through. They reckon it just gets worse from here on in. Cannibal Creek. She's a doozy, I tell ya. It's going to be interesting.
Creek took me a little bit by surprise. It looked a lot more challenging in real life than it did on any of the videos that I'd watched. But it's nothing that can't be accomplished if you just take your time and plan your lines a little bit.
Yeah, hug your mirror on that wall. No, right. Oh no! Do you want me to try and push?
Yeah, you can try.
No, won't go back, won't go forward.
So remember what I'd said about lines? Well, the wheels had slipped in between a couple of rocks. The only way out was to throw down the max tracks.
Now you're trying to climb this rock too.
The exit out of the creek, however, I wouldn't want to be doing with open dips if I was towing a trailer.
Right, come forward, but you've got to go nice and slow. Just hold that straight line.
This log bridge is reconstructed every year after the wet season, and as you can see it's only held together by Telstra rope and a few ratchet straps.
Right, easy. Keep going straight.
Nice one.
Cool, thanks. So I think we've got Logans next, and then Nolans. Tell you what, the sun coming in on this right-hand window is bloody warm. The scenery is just so amazingly beautiful. A few little rocky bits here and there, but basically in between the crossings it's easy going. A few little ruts where you're going to articulate through, but overall the crossings are the hardest bit.
Nolans Crossing, the longest water crossing on the OTT.
Right, so this is Logans Crossing, and I've got to tell you, I'm feeling a little bit nervous about this one. Alright, here goes. Cheers. That was wild, man. That was Logans Crossing done. Man, we had water up over the bonnet. That was a long crossing. Got a fair bit of water in the car too. Even though I hadn't stopped, I still kept moving. Yeah, I opened the doors and we had some water coming out, so we're gonna have to dry the carpet out later on. But we made it, that's the main thing. On to Nolans now. So we've got one more little bit of a puddle and then we get to Nolans Crossing. And that's it, that's the last one, that's the big one, Nolans. So here we are at the infamous Nolans Creek crossing. I've got my strap ready. I've aired down to about 12 psi. Yeah, just saw another Hilux stall halfway across the creek, so a little bit nervous, but you only live once, right? So there's 2 more cars in front of me, and then I'm across, hopefully.
Holy shitballs!
He should know better.
Right, here goes nothing.
With the previous cars chewing up the bottom of the river on the original path that we'd chosen, I'd either have to sit and wait 20-30 minutes or choose another path across the river.
Nolans Crossing. They said no one's done this one today, so this will be interesting. That's it, Old Telegraph Track done. That was a pretty fun ride. Just heading out now off to the PDR because you can't do the last crossing anymore, the Jardine River. They've closed that. You've got to take the ferry across. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I can only imagine what it'd be like if the water was a bit higher. Would have been a lot more fun in parts, but Nolans wasn't too bad, that route I took down. That was short and sweet. It was deep, like it was up over the bonnet, but it still wasn't too bad. That was one on the far left. Anyway, I've done what I've come here for, so now I can do all the touristy things and just have a look around. I may do Frenchman's Track on the way back. I wouldn't mind having a look at the Creb Track and also the Bloomfield Track, so I might look at doing those on the way back to Brisbane as well. But yeah, now it's just a bit of a sightseeing tour.